D'abord, la semaine de congé, c'était une bonne chose de l'avoir?
Ça fait du bien. C'est sûr que, tu sais, on commence avec une victoire, puis d'avoir une semaine de congé tout de suite après, ça enlève un peu le momentum qu'on avait. Mais quand même, là, on va pas cracher sur un bye week, ça fait toujours du bien. Puis là, on est prêt, on est frais pour retourner au travail.
Vous avez eu des ennuis en termes de protection lors de la dernière rencontre. Est-ce que justement la semaine de congé, bon, je sais que vous ne l'avez pas passé ici là, en réunion, mais est-ce que ça vous a quand même permis, du moins aux entraîneurs, est-ce que ça aura permis d'apporter des ajustements? Et si oui, ça a été quoi?
Bien, c'est sûr qu'on a regardé les bandes vidéo, puis tu sais, on a corrigé qu'est-ce qu'il y avait à corriger. C'est juste des trucs de communication, de trucs qu'on n'a pas vus. Oui, on avait un game plan, mais on n'avait pas vraiment beaucoup de films sur cette équipe-là. Donc, il y a des choses qu'on n'avait pas vues sur film. Mais non, écoute, c'est sûr qu'une performance de 6 sacs, on ne veut plus que ça arrive. Fait que c'est sûr qu'on va faire en sorte que ça arrive plus.
Ouais, au niveau de la ligne attaque, par contre, habituellement, vous faites du bon travail pour créer des brèches pour le jeu au sol. Puis même ça, ça n'a pas été à votre niveau auquel vous nous avez habitués. Ça, comment tu expliques ça?
C'est le début de la saison pour tout le monde. Je n'ai pas de réponse pour toi. C'est le début de la saison pour tout le monde. On va continuer à travailler là-dessus, la communication, la cohésion avec les receveurs qui bloquent aussi, la cohésion avec le corps arrière, la cohésion avec les running backs. Puis c'est sûr que ça va être meilleur cette semaine.
Dans quelle mesure, justement, c'était en raison du fait que nouveau quart, le retour de Sandback, que tout le monde n'était pas nécessairement sur la même page?
Ben, c'est ça. Puis c'est pas des excuses que je donne. C'est juste que on a des nouveaux gars un petit peu partout, nouveau playbook, nouveau tout. Fait que c'est sûr que ça va prendre un petit peu de temps à s'habituer. On avait le camp, mais c'est sûr que ça va aller de mieux en mieux à chaque semaine.
Tu as écopé d'une petite pénalité. Y a-t-il une amende qui est venue avec?
Pas d'amende. Pas ce que j'ai entendu.
How about that week off? Was it a good thing?
There's pros and cons, right? Pros, I got to see my family. I got to see my little guy. Haven't seen him in a month. A con is you kind of lose the momentum. You feel like the season's starting over again. But also a big pro is coming out of training camp, your body usually has these nicks, bumps, bruises, and having that week off to just kind of get your body right, as well as our opponent played 2 games, so now we have 2 games to break down, and they only have 1 game of us to break down, which is kind of nice in the strategy department. But, if you always want to keep the momentum rolling after you win a football game, especially early on in the season, this is probably the earliest bye I've ever had in my career. But like I said, there's pros and cons to it.
All football guys often say that offenses are longer to organize. Is it still the case?
I would say there's just a lot I think that goes into an offense, and I've found in this league, especially like when you have back-to-back games against the same opponent, it's easier for the defense to change things up for 1 week as opposed to the offense. So usually what you're running is what you're running for majority of the season. So that's why most offenses hit their stride middle of the season, and that's when you see the points go up, the yardages go up. But we have an expectation here of being one of the best offenses in the league, and so we didn't play to our standard last game. We did enough to win the football game, but we know we got to do much, much better, including myself. I got to play much better and protect the football so that we have a chance to win football games in the fourth quarter.
How about protection? It was kind of tough. 6 sacks last week.
It's week 1, right? There's a lot of things that go into that, especially when you don't get to scheme your opponent. They brought some things that I've never seen their defense coordinator bring. So schematically, there's just a couple things that we had to just learn on the fly. We'll be 1,000 times better this week, and I'm not batting an eyelash at that number. There's a lot of things that go into it, including myself sometimes holding on the ball a little bit too long, or my drop being a little bit too deep and put some stress on our guys. And you're naturally going to have good defensive linemen who win one-on-one matchups because they get paid to play football too. So, my body's healthy, and that's all I can ask for, and we got the win. And so I'm excited to see this offense attack this week. It's going to be a hostile environment, a team that's desperate for a win already early on, and it's their home opener, right? So they're going to do everything they can to try and win this football game. So it's going to be a real test for this team and see where we're at.
Just talk to me a little bit about Austin Mack. You guys had the nice connection, hit 120 yards in week 1. Just what does he do well for a guy who's just getting introduced to the Canadian?
Absolutely. He does everything 100 miles an hour, right? And that's what's impressive. What I think I'm most impressed about is the way he's picked up the offense, and he's able to play fast because of it. And a lot of times you see rookies come out, and it takes them 3, 4, 5 weeks. But he's an NFL guy, a guy coming from the NFL system who understands pro football and how to be a pro. And so a lot of that shows up on the field, and he does so much off the field with his work ethic. That's why I knew he was going to have a great game. I know he's going to have a great season. And I was telling everybody leading up to it, we got some young receivers here that are going to turn some heads, and he surely did that.